Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Triangle BNI. My name is Mike Manning. And each week we showcase BNI members here in the Triangle to show you how to start or grow a business. If you're not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International. It is the world's largest networking organization. And our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle, if you're not familiar with the area, it's Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill in central North Carolina. They tell us a hurricane is headed our way. We'll see what that's going to be like on Wednesday night and Thursday morning. But we have about 30 chapters, almost 700 members, and each week we bring you a wonderful story about how they are growing their business through Triangle BNI. And our guest today is Sandra Gooch Hollis with Gooch Hollis Real Estate. Sandra, glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
And one of the things we talk about during the show here is how a BNI chapter works. And each week there's a featured speaker, either 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on the size of your group. And the speaker is introduced through our BNI member bio sheet, Sandra. So we're just going to start with that. So everybody get to know you, okay?
Sure.
Speaker today, Sandra Gooch Hollis, business name, Gooch Hollis Real Estate, and profession realtor, location of the business.
Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right. All over the place, right?
Pretty much the Triangle, but yes.
Okay. You'll drive like most
I'll
of us.
drive.
If it's a worthy deal. Well,
If
okay,
I
I'll drive
won't,
there.
I have someone who will, right?
There you go. So my second favorite question on this sheet, previous types of jobs.
Wow. Immediately following or preceding this, I was a nanny. Very interesting family situation there, which brought me into real estate. And before that, I worked in the western part of the state as an administrative assistant for city manager at the city of Lenoir in Caldwell County, North Carolina.
Oh, yes. Lenore Ryan, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Right. Tell me a good high school job you had.
yes.
Either first or best or most memorable.
Most memorable
Yes.
will be grading tobacco in a barn by myself, and I was not a farm girl. That was memorable.
How did you get that job?
I needed gas money.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just, where I come from, when you're out in the country, you take whatever job is available, and thank goodness it wasn't slopping a pig. That would have been even worse.
And you graded tobacco?
Yes.
What is that?
That's when you're in a barn that's cold alone and you pick up a stalk in the western part of the state. Tobacco is grown different than in the eastern part. And you grab up a stalk of tobacco and you pull the leaves off and you decide what quality it is and grade it. Yeah, very interesting.
I knew that tobacco or barbecue was different on each side of the state.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
no idea tobacco was too. Okay.
I've lived up north and in the south, and there is no greater difference in places than the East Coast and the West Coast.
That is true. That is true. That's why we love this state. So, family information, spouse.
I'm married, recently married in October, Paul Hollis.
All right.
Very, very lucky woman.
Is there a good story how you two met?
Well, I think it's very interesting. Meetup groups
Yes.
are really popular here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And it was a group that's still in existence, and it's called I Always Wanted to skydive
Oh,
or
okay.
adventure kind of things. And we met at a first Friday night in downtown Raleigh.
Mhm.
And we had dinner with a group of people, and that was
Very nice.
5.5 years ago.
All right.
Yeah.
Good deal. Children.
3. My son Jesse is 38, and he works for the state of North Carolina. I have a daughter, Cindy Runyon. She works for McNeil Steel, McComb Steel, pardon me. And then my daughter, Mindy Beatrice, is a Wake County Deputy Sheriff, which is
Very
what
nice.
brought me here to the county.
Yes, I remember hearing
And the
that
nanny.
story. Yes, we will
Yeah.
hear more on that. Animals.
We have one child, June Hollis. she's a German Shepherd, and it's June Carter Cash the 5th.
There you go.
Yes.
I like that. Now, the part of the family section that's nearest and dearest for you and I are
Yes.
grandchildren.
My grandbabies.
Do tell.
I have 8. Very proud of all 8 of them. 2 are in high school. That would be Morgan and Erica, who just made the newspaper last week for her running abilities. She's
All right.
long distance track. And then I won't go into all the details, but there's 6 more.
6 more.
And they're all just as important and special.
And what do they call you?
Nana.
Excellent. Okay.
Yes.
We like that. Hobbies and activities of interest.
Hobbies. I love basket weaving. I'm also a beekeeper. So that's
Ooh.
I say that loosely. Actually, the husband's now keeping the bees, and I'm doing things inside. I was stung one time too many, but I still participate as much as possible.
Do you guys make your own honey?
Well, the bees make it, but
Yeah.
yes, we bottle it, and
Don't look at
yeah, I
him. Don't
know.
look at
I
him. He
hear the
knows what I
laughing.
meant.
Uh,
I feel like
most
I'm
of
at home. Yeah.
you asked me last Wednesday at our BNI meeting about gifts,
Yes.
and what I attempt to do is make a basket and have honey for each of my
Ooh,
clients. So
very nice.
it's
That'll
personal.
play. That honey will play.
Oh,
Oh,
they
yeah.
love
Yep.
my honey, or the
S-
bees' honey.
Yeah, the bees. Yeah, let's get it right.
Yes,
Not yours. It's the
that's it.
bees,
That's
honey.
it.
Thank you for that clarification, Amnon. City of residence.
Raleigh, North
Okay.
Carolina.
Your burning desire is to.
Make the world a better place by helping others.
All right. Okay. The key to your success.
Helping others. I do
Okay.
believe that,
All
and
right.
I believe in the BNI givers gain
Yes.
philosophy. So.
With you on that. My favorite question here is something no one knows about you.
Well, this is interesting. So I have recently decided I am going to write a book, and so a future book to be looking for. And I do some speaking. Obviously, I speak a lot, but I speak in front of groups.
Very cool. Okay. We're going to get back to the book in a minute.
Sure.
Okay. So it's September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the status of Gooch Hollis Real Estate, where you are today.
Oh, wow. Very new. Just in, became a firm a little over a week ago. Very excited about that, uh, and it's all due to my success with BNI and the connections I've made, and looking forward to going places with it.
Always a big step going out on your own.
Yes.
What have you been planning this?
Since the day I thought about getting my license, I've been planning this. My whole purpose for getting into real estate was to build a firm that I could pass on to all those grandbabies
All right.
and keep it in the family. And
Very nice. Okay.
that's where we're going with it.
So what got you? Did real estate find you or did you find real estate?
All those years working with the city of Lenore and dealing with politics and building inspections and real estate attorneys. I gained a lot of information through that, and then just networking, and it just seemed like a natural progression. Go take what I had and build on it, and that's what took me to where I am today.
And I know some realtors are buyer's agents, some are seller's agents. Where do you fall into all that? Are you full service office and everything?
I am full service.
All right.
Have listings, and I do work with buyers. I do specialize in first-time buyers, but more recently, I've been working with a lot of investors from the West Coast. So I'm full service. I guess that would be the best way to state it.
Okay. One of the stories I enjoy telling when I go visit other BNI chapters is the simple things to do in BNI. And you did one of those by filling out your bio online on BNI.
Yes.
And a couple of gentlemen from California got onto the Triangle BNI site looking for a realtor here because they wanted to buy some houses. Take it from there and tell us what all transpired from that to help your chapter.
Okay, so that story's not actually accurate. I think I've confused you.
Okay.
So I do have buyers from California.
Yes.
But those came through a different venue. But I did have a couple from Sacramento, California, find me on the BNI website.
Okay.
They were coming here. They're thinking about relocating from the West Coast, and they were looking for a real estate agent in the Raleigh area. He's a BNI member there, and knew he didn't want to deal with anyone that wasn't BNI. We have that common bond. We all know each other. We take our oath. We believe truly in the BNI way. And so he knew that's what he wanted, was a BNI member. Obviously, not everyone fills out those profile pages, and I encourage everyone in my chapter and anyone listening, please go do that. You are missing out on business if you don't. But he found a realtor in the Raleigh area who had filled out the profile page. Yes, I'm sure he probably ran through my website too, but he found me originally through that. They came here, we spent the weekend together, and hopefully they'll be moving here soon. But if I had not filled out the profile
Mhm.
page, yeah, he could have picked anyone.
Yeah, and a lot of that is we as consumers, I always like to talk to people about that. Okay, if you're the consumer, what are you looking for? So if you go on a site and you see realtor, 3 years, triangle, and that's not gonna motivate you to click on anything more.
No,
Or if you see some information but no picture.
sure.
So, I mean, the whole thing's gotta be filled out for people, I think, to stay and want to potentially call you on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, again, if you don't fill out the profile page, you're losing out on business.
Yes.
And the reason we're networking is to build our businesses. So um, take time.
And there are a number of stories through people in BNI, family members out of state needing somebody. A friend of mine who's is from the Northeast. He's a financial guy here, Brian Richardson. Brian, telling your story here. His mom had passed a few months ago,
Mm,
and they needed a carpet cleaner to sell the house, get in shape to sell the house
sure.
and everything. So he found a carpet cleaner through BNI. Carpet cleaner did not know the realtor. Now the realtor and the carpet cleaner know each other real well. So the power of BNI is because we know now in BNI, if anybody, I've got a son living in Charlotte, connected him with somebody one time, he needed something straight through BNI. So
Sure.
I love that part of it, but you got to have the stuff filled out right.
Yes.
So, what was your first interaction with BNI or the first time you ever heard of it?
I was on a team with another real estate firm, and the team leader had started the BNI chapter that I'm in right now. And she said, I don't have time for it. Just don't have time. I need someone to go fill this seat. And I find that this is the way a lot of chapters are run. And I didn't know what BNI was. I said, I'm a team member, I'm a team player. Sure, I'll go do this. It's what you do if you're on a team. I went and sat down, had never heard of BNI, and went one time. I liked the thought. I liked the what I was hearing was the outline. So I did some research. And by the second week I was there, I realized I can't just sit here. I have to work. I have to know these people. I have to network. I have to send referrals. I meet people every day. Um, I love the philosophy of givers gain. I have drunk the BNI Kool-Aid, I say often. And I realized if this was going to work, this chapter thing was going to work, and I was going to spend that much time, that I would have to start working the program and learning more about BNI. So that's when I started on my journey of learning and educating myself. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel. BNI has everything. And that's the way it's going to work. And only if you work what's laid out there. Don't try to reinvent it. Don't try to do something different. Just go with what's there. Make it simple.
And Sandra's chapter is RD21, the Glenwood South connection. They meet at Zoco Restaurant Wednesdays at 11:30
Noon.
noon. Okay, 11. Okay,
Come a little early
early.
so
Yeah,
we can talk,
yes,
but the
exactly. Do
meeting
some networking. Yeah,
officially starts at
and
noon.
very good food down there. I've been a
It's
couple
very good.
times. Enchiladas, rice, and
Ah,
beans. Big fan of that. So,
yes,
and all
that's
the
good.
chips you can eat. So we like
Sure.
that a lot.
And we have great service too.
Yes, you do. And so there's a lot of pressure on, not pressure, but more expectations on realtors. The successful chapters are good because the realtors are good. Okay. Because they usually drive the most referrals. They're either first or second in each chapter. Because when you come in contact with a client, they're going to need maybe an HVAC guy, a handyman, certainly a mortgage lender, a closing attorney, all kinds
Yes.
of things like that. I always like to ask people when they left their first meeting, which did you have more questions when you first went there or when you left your first meeting about what am I going to do here?
When I left,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I thought this is a Wednesday morning coffee hour down at IHOP.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are getting together, and I'd been to those before, and I really had no interest in that. I mean, it works for some people, and that's great, but wasn't going to work for me. And when I left, I was excited. I saw something here that I knew could work. Um, didn't know how I would get there. That's why I started on that journey of educating myself. But I'm very happy that I did.
Mhm. What were some of the notes you wrote down at that first meeting about how to activate this?
Well, it was simple things like develop elevator speech. Ah,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
just it's something that simple. I obviously have no problem talking to people. I'm very outgoing, but I didn't really have an outline or had not developed anything, formal. And I realized real fast that I needed to do that to be able to be memorable to people. And um, because my goal is to help people, how am I going to do that if they don't remember me? So I had to start developing all that.
And we talk a lot about, in the show, a number of BNI tips and everything, and specific is terrific. So when you stand up and say, "I'm looking for," and it can be difficult for a realtor because you don't know that Jim and Susie are moving from Madison, Wisconsin. If you don't know them, you don't know they're
True.
coming. So what kind of things do you ask your chapter for when you stand up to do your elevator speech?
Well, these days we're in a boom market here in the Raleigh area, and we have a lot of housing needs, but we don't have a lot of housing. So it is a seller's market. What I ask my members to do is just talk to their friends and family, and if they know of anyone who needs help navigating this system, let me know. Um, Most homes under $300,000 are in multiple offer situations. And if you just out there just putting offers out without knowing what's going on, even from week to week, it changes. The odds of your client being awarded that contract are very slim. But because I am out there actively pursuing this every week and feel the pulse of what's going on, I'm able to help their clients. And just knowing that, I will educate them um, and help them through the process makes my chapter members feel really good, and they know they can refer their family and friends to me. So,
And in for people who are not familiar with the Triangle, this market, the real estate market's been on fire for a couple years now.
yeah,
And there's stories going around with all the realtors that if you have a house under $300,000 and you put it on the market, you could have 8 to 10 offers, all of them exceeding the asking price,
absolutely.
regardless of um, what the reports say on the house, just the asking
Absolutely.
price. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the other. And we're competing with cash offers,
Mm.
a lot of them. So it's just very difficult. It's very difficult. If you don't have an agent, a buyer's agent that's helping you with this, your odds of being awarded that contract are very slim.
And that happens fast too, doesn't it?
On the average, 1 to 3 days,
Yeah.
and the properties are under contract. Sometimes they actually happen within the first 12 hours.
Yes. Yeah. If you've got a house under $300,000 and you know you're moving, first of all, if you're trying to move inside the triangle under $300,000, you're probably not going to want to sell because there's nothing to buy. But if you're moving out of
There's not
state,
much.
right, or if you're moving out of state or going to a bigger house, your options are a little better. But what kind of mistakes or what kind of assumptions is the seller making? Oh, my house will sell because my neighbor's house. What kind of assumptions are they making that could lead to problems for them?
Um, Sellers are just if you're under $300,000, as long as the property is just average, it, it's hard to go wrong, to be honest. I would like to tell you some ideas to help the house. Obviously, you want curb appeal. Some people just don't think about that sort of thing, but it's just hard to go wrong as a seller under $300,000. I wish I could give you an answer on that, but I don't see any really weak spots there.
Are people having to do anything to the house to get it ready to sell?
Not much.
Wow.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I think the last report I heard, we have approximately 600 to 700 people per week moving into the area, and there's no housing already. And the more people that come and they need houses, it's just making it even more of a seller's market. So,
Has the new construction caught up with that yet?
no, not no, and won't for at least another year. I don't know if
Yeah.
it will at that point in time. We've got so much going on. Amazon might be
Mhm.
coming. I mean, we can keep going on about what might
Yeah.
happen, but even if the status quo stays what it is now, we have a housing shortage. So this is part of the reason those investors I've been dealing with from the West Coast are coming here and buying.
And are they buying the higher end homes?
Nope. A little story. I
Mhm.
left for vacation the middle of July, and a couple of investors, their brothers in San Diego, had just sold an apartment complex. I get a call the first day that I have gone on vacation. They said, "We have $1 million. We need $1 million worth of homes in Raleigh." And they're looking for $200,000 and under. They want to keep them 5 to 7 years. The return ROI on investment cannot be beat anywhere, I don't believe, in the country. And so they're selling their properties in California and they're buying here. Again, these are cash buyers. So they're competing against first time home buyers who have, very little money. You have to know how to what you're competing against out there. So um,
Nice
it's
phone call to get on vacation, wasn't it?
well, my family didn't think so, but I told them we could have another vacation later.
You and the hubby were just fine
Yes,
with it
we
though,
were
because you
fine.
knew, let's see, 5, and they ended up buying 5 houses?
Actually, 6.
Okay, right.
Yeah, we ended up getting a small one in another location for
Okay.
them. There are other areas that I work outside the triangle and that are really good. Fayetteville, I'll
Okay.
just throw it out there. Fayetteville
Yeah.
is a really great area if you're looking, um, and it's just absolutely a great place for. You can buy a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for under $70,000 down there. Turn them over, rent them out,
Yeah.
and then it's just a great opportunity.
In a BNI chapter, I like to call it the real estate car wash.
Mhm,
Okay, so the realtor, you find the buyer or normally the buyer.
mhm.
And then you've got your mortgage lender, got your closing attorney, got your home inspector those have to be done.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So what other kind of referrals when you get when you get a listing, either buyer or seller, outside of those three, who else in your chapters benefited from your client?
Oh, insurance agents, both commercial and residential, family law. Um, be amazed. A lot of people out here, a lot of couples that aren't married that want to buy property together. That's
Oh, okay.
fine, but they need a family law attorney to talk to them about how to organize some things before they go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
Um, Printers benefit from my business because I obviously need printing
Mm.
signs. Um, I, Everybody in my chapter has benefited in one way or the other um, from my seat because every homeowner needs every product they offer, whether it be a chiropractor. They're new to the area. They're
Yeah.
looking for a chiropractor. They need a chiropractor. So I'm hard pressed to think of anybody in my chapter that um, I couldn't refer to.
And that's exactly what a realtor should do for their chapter to do
Sure.
that. So if you would like some more information on BNI, Triangle BNI more specifically, if you're in the area, you can call the number here at 919-465-1667, or you can shoot us an email at bni@nissancommunications.com. You can also go on to trianglebni.com. There's a little drop down button there. It says find a chapter. And you can look for day part, city in the triangle area, whatever works best for you. And just go visit. You're under no obligation to join, but just go visit, see what it's like there, see what other kind of like-minded professionals are there. And that's what we do is we all get together and help each other grow their business. Because in your chapter, you've got 15, 16 other salespeople, basically, is the way you look at that chapter, right?
Absolutely. I work for each and every one of those members, and each and every one of those members work for me. When I hear the statement, "I don't have time
No,
to go to a meeting,"
no.
or "It's going to cost too much," it amazes me because if you are in business, you should be a statistician. You should know what your numbers are, and every seat in my group right now is worth over $10,000. I think that well pays for that little
Yes. Yeah.
application.
For the 445,
Yes.
$150 application fee, 445 per year. You do the quick math. Sandra sells a $300,000 house. Get 2.5, 3% of that. You do the math. It's easy to figure out that, okay, I think I can
And
do those.
I do want to say something here because I hear this also. But you're a realtor. of course, you're going to make a lot of money with this. I
Mm.
I will have one referral, a quarter,
Mhm.
maybe. But how many referrals do I give out to all the other members, and do they share with each other? So it's not just about the big seats, the power team seats. It's as much the carpet cleaning seat, or the cleaning person seat, or the automobile seat. Everybody benefits from BNI.
And generally, the realtor, you'll give out way more referrals than you get.
Sure.
But the beauty of it is you're the hero to your clients. Because like I got it, right?
Absolutely. A real estate agent's main duty is organization, just project management. That's what my job is. I just make sure everything goes together, and, that inspections are done, repair, and, estimates are made. Just be there for my client with whatever they need. And yes, that makes them comfortable. They know they're taken care of, and they know that the people, and I get this if you'll look at any of my online uh, reviews, some of the most important and the things that my clients say about me is how happy they are with my team, the team that's around me. That's my BNI members. I know a lot of teams would be other people, you know, in the group of realtors, but my team is my BNI chapter.
It's and we talk about this about every week with people that come on is the mindset of, "Ugh, another meeting." It's like, "No, it's not that. It's a client." I keep telling people that when that group is a client of yours. So, putting a percentage number on your business
Hmm.
over the calendar year, because 'cause you've been in there.
Year and a half.
Yeah. So what percentage of your revenue could you track to BNI, not specifically your chapter, but just BNI in general?
Wow. When we think about it that way, I would say right now at least 40 to 50%. And that's pretty good
From going to
numbers.
one little meeting, isn't it?
That's it.
Oh,
That I had to sit there and think about having to go every Wednesday. But BNI, every group is different. Every personality in the group's different. I usually use the analogy of church. You can go to different churches, and every congregation feels a little different. Well, BNI is a lot like that. Our group, uh, Choco, meet at Choco Raleigh. It's Glenwood South Connection, RD 21. We like each other.
you
We
do.
really do, and we have fun. We laugh, but we're serious about business.
What I like about when I go visit chapters, what I like, about these successful chapters are who stays afterwards. Because if you've ever been to a meeting which nobody had a good time, they're gone. Meeting's over 1 o'clock and that room's empty at 1:01, but your chapter stays. And that's, to me, that's always been a mark of a successful chapter. Is you stay and it's about friends then.
It is,
Hey, haven't seen you in a week or two. What you been up to? Heard you went. Fill in
yeah.
the blank. Yeah.
And the only way you're going to be able to network successfully, I believe, is to have those connections. I know that they're like family, and I know if I have a problem, communication's good and it's key in all networking. I know I can go to them, and not every transaction is going to be smooth. Sometimes, we just have those times that it's just not that great. But by working together, we can work through that and help do the best we can for the client.
Yes. One of the other reasons I like your chapter, first of all, they make me laugh. I've been there, I
Mm.
think 3 times now, but I enjoy going there. They make me laugh. But Chris, the fitness guy,
Oh, love him.
with his stretching exercises to get his point across,
It
right?
works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally fit, um, and Chris Monagle, I never say his name properly. I'm so sorry. He is just the greatest. His whole team is the
Yeah.
greatest. And he does his own networking. So we have networks within our network. It's just the craziest thing. Um, but we have a very strong personal, what do they call that? The personal fitness group. We have a acupuncturist and a neurologist, a chiropractic physical therapy
Mhm.
person, and then Chris owns Personally Fit, and they network within
Yeah.
themselves along with with, our BNI chapter. And they're always bringing things to us to help us be healthier mentally and physically. And sometimes it's just that
Oh, yeah.
simple stretching thing that we all can do for
Yeah.
60 seconds. And he's
And he
proven
does
that
it,
to
yeah.
me. Yes.
Well, and you brought up something earlier, and very few chapters have as many medical seats filled as yours
Sure.
does, but it makes sense once it was explained to me on
Sure.
how the way they refer and listening to them. But you had mentioned earlier that if somebody's moving into the market, they may not have a chiropractor. So while
That's right.
people won't think a logical referral for a realtor is a chiropractor, it's
Absolutely.
kind of a good source for you to have, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Every resource that we can have um, in our BNI chapters adds value to
Mhm.
us and to what we do, whether it be a chiropractor or a real estate agent or an insurance agent. It's just having that network of people that we can refer to just makes you more valuable.
And if you have a client with kids going to travel this and little league that, they just like, Sandra, I need these 3 things. Can you
Sure.
help me? And you just done
Well, we all
when
see
they call
those
them.
ads on the radio or on television for Home Spotter or for what used to be Angie's List
Yeah.
or whatever, because people don't, most of the people here in Wake County are not natives. They've
Yes.
moved here from other locations. So they really don't know who to go to. I mean, they can go online and do
Mhm.
an online search the way all of us can. But by having this network of BNI, even long after the sales closed, if I have a client who needs something, they call me.
Mm.
They know not to go online. They know I have someone that I can refer to. And if that person is not in my BNI chapter, I search our BNI Connect website and I find someone in another BNI chapter because they share our values. And I
Mhm.
know to refer to them.
And that's how you and I found each other, through
Absolutely.
Mary. Thank you,
Yes,
Mary
absolutely.
Stocks, who's on
Yes.
vacation this week, but
She's a
thank you, Mary.
superstar.
But it's that type of networking,
Sure.
that does that. You brought up a good point. So somebody will buy a house from you, and 7 years later, they may need you again,
Sure. Hopefully.
Oh, right. So how do you stay in touch with clients like that?
Well, there are things such as uh, client appreciation events,
Mhm.
um, emails, of course. I have an app. I love my app, and it is a personal app that's branded to me, and there is a text message um, application in the app, and in this app they can search for homes. They can see what their neighbor's home is for sale for down the road. So there's no reason to delete the app even after you've closed. But if they have a question, they just connect with me through the app. We're constant text messaging. And
Mhm.
the problem I hear with a lot of people is they say, "Well, I can never get a hold of my agent. Once they've listed the house,
Yeah,
they're undercover agents. I never see them." Well, I'm available.
yeah.
I have a text message, and as most of us these days, my phone is pretty much attached to me.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm just a few minutes away if you need me.
Very nice. Your own app. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
But that's the way to communicate with people these days. I don't want a phone call, but I
Mm-mm.
want to find out this information.
And that app is linked to the multiple listing service here. So within 15 minutes of any property coming on the market or going off the market, they have access to it without having to go through an online search engine such as Zillow, where it might have been off the market for 2 years. You just don't know if, this is accurate. It's the most accurate thing I can provide for my clients.
Are you finding more buyers are doing their own research and then coming to you with, "Hey, we've narrowed it down to these 5 houses," or something like that?
They try. And it's just in this market, it's just crazy because you start looking and you even once if they know how to narrow their search to what they want, then finding the property without it being sold. As I told you earlier, properties are selling in 1 to 3
Mhm.
days from the time they hit the market. Unless you are on there all the time or have access to listings that are coming to market
Oh, the
temporarily.
pocket listing. Yeah.
You don't have access to that without a realtor.
Yeah.
So that they find again, the only way you're going to be successful in this market as a buyer, under $300,000 is to have a buyer's agent. And you need that person. It doesn't cost you anything. The
Yeah.
seller pays for it, and you have protection. You have someone that can hold your hand, walk you through it, and it's just, you just need it. And whether it's new construction,
I was just going right there because I've learned that a while back that
yes,
just because you're buying a newly constructed house,
yes,
their goal is to get you to buy it what they want to sell it for. And
yes.
a lot of people don't go and get their own realtor.
They don't even realize it's an option.
Correct. Yeah.
And if you've ever bought a timeshare, I use this analogy a lot. I've been there, done that. You get all caught up in all the frills and all the freebies. The same thing happens with new construction. You show up and, oh, I mean, there's just that smell of new paint, and you don't even think they're going to take care of everything that they tell you they will, and they will take care of everything. But that agent's interest is in protecting the builder, not helping the buyer. And so you need a buyer's agent to help you through that process. And um, please take care of yourself and protect yourself. That's the way to do it.
And again, they don't pay for it.
It doesn't
Yeah.
cost you a thing. And you're not going to save money by not getting one. You will hear that story too. So
Yeah.
always have a buyer's agent.
Yeah. Very good. Your second favorite thing to talk about other than your grandchildren these days, I assume, is your book that you mentioned earlier. So tell us about that.
So I have started my own firm, and I do have a book, and I attribute my success largely to BNI. So the book is The Power of Networking Through BNI. It's in the early stages, but hopefully I will have it finished by the end of the month. Excited about that. And about helping new agents navigate how to get be successful in real estate. And I have a goal of helping 7 new agents become $1 million real estate agents.
Very nice.
Yes, sir. That's my goal. Hopefully within the next 2 years, that will
Wow.
be an obtained successful
Okay.
endeavor.
Did BNI, was that the genesis for the book, or had you always been wanting to write a book about something you were doing?
I've dabbled with writing since I was a kid. I've always liked writing. I don't, it was
Sitting
just,
in those quiet barns all by yourself.
yeah, it wasn't all, remember, I was a suburb girl. That was why the barn thing was so outlandish. But I have a granddaughter now who's kind of following my footsteps, and I think she wrote her first book when she was 7,
Wow.
So this
Very
day
nice.
and age, book writing is not what it one time was. It's a little easier, but it's definitely, I'd like to, I've drunk the BNI Kool-Aid. I want to see other people be successful, and I can have a conversation with a few people, or I could write the book, and many more could be able to, read that and maybe glean a few of the little nuggets that I've been able to find.
So without spoiling all the details in the book, give us a couple of nuggets of things you want to pass along to prospective realtors.
Sure. BNI is as successful as you want it to be. It is the philosophy of giver's gain. Here in the Bible Belt, sometimes we call it sowing and reaping. It could also be called karma. It's all the same thing. And the idea is, I really believe I cannot outgive you. As long as I'm out there working for you, working really hard for you, it's going to come back to me. And the way to be successful is to follow the BNI program, not to try to reinvent it or to do something different. It's already been, it's laid out there for you. Do your one-to-ones. My chapter saw a new president come in on April 1st of this year. From that moment on, we have intently been doing the BNI program the way it was written, not trying to say, well, we like this part, but we don't like that part. So no, we are trying to do it all. And our one-to-ones, I don't know if you have the stats today or not, but we have done a lot of one-to-ones, and that's where the success is. Meeting with people and asking, "What is it I can do to help you grow your business? Tell me how to help you." Because I don't know, about pest inspections. I don't know what you do. I mean,
You don't
I
want to
have
crawl under house with me one day to
no,
learn?
no, no, no. But I can help you grow your business by
Yes.
you telling me what it is that you do and what I can do to help you. But you have to train me as your
Mhm.
workforce, and you do that through one-on-ones.
Right. And if you've never been to a BNI meeting before, a one-to-one is as simple as a meeting in an office, Starbucks, Panera's, you name a place. I think first time we did ours was in a Panera's.
It was?
And you just kind of a couple things in BNI that you need to know. It's givers gain, as you had mentioned or Sanders
Sure.
mentioned earlier, but also like, know, and trust.
Yes.
So you're not going to usually you're not going to refer somebody unless you like, know, and trust them because you're giving your good name to that person to give to your friend. And if they mess it up, your friend's never going to call you or take any recommendation from you again. So that's where you have to like, know, and trust and build that relationship. And you want to, you find out about their history, how they got here, all the things we've been talking about today. But then you get to the point of how can I help you? And you're right. That's where things come into play where you really start to learn. So now when I'm out listening for somebody, I go, "Ooh, investor. Oh, call Sandra.
Right.
She deals with it." But I wouldn't have known that if we didn't do a one-to-one. So little
Sure.
things like that come out of those if you intentionally go into that with a game plan.
Absolutely. Another thing, I some of my members have told me, uh, not everyone has the opportunity to refer to a realtor
Mhm.
every week, but every one of my BNI members, chapter members, knows that if they're driving around and they see for sale by owner signs,
Mhm.
they now stop, take a picture, write down the phone number, and I get an instant message. I found a for sale by owner. Something they've all told me they would have had no clue that would have helped me.
Yeah.
But by our one-to-ones and me helping them understand my business, they know little things like that, which can make a huge difference to a business.
There's a couple realtors in BNI that I've actually asked that question of, and they're like, "I don't want to meet them." And I'm like, "Why is that?"
Oh,
Because it may take you 10 to get one,
sure.
and they may not know that they get your services for free. And in this market, they are going to need you. So,
Well, then this is where the realtor hat will come on, and it's like when I see a for sale by owner sign out there, I see a help wanted sign. They need my help. They just don't know that they need it because statistics will show you that they will sell that house for less money and it will take them longer if they do it themselves than if they have a professional helping them. Plus, there's all the forms that they're going to need. They're going to have to go to an attorney and have forms drawn up or have legal paperwork taken care of. There's a lot of things people don't think about. It's a seller's market,
mhm.
but if you want the most money for your property, you need a professional helping you.
And they may not know how to counter or answer the buyer's agent's questions and requests. And if you don't know, you're like, "Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to fix that." And you really, because everything's negotiable, right?
All things are negotiable in real estate. Um, there's different layers of protection you get from having buyer's agents and the listings agents. If you're either a buyer or a seller, and if you want more information about that, I'd be glad to share it with you. Of course, the North Carolina Real Estate Commission is full of brochures and information for you that anybody can access, and I recommend that you go to that website and you look it up. And my main goal is to educate my clients. First and foremost, it helps them, it helps me, it makes everything go smoother, and I just do feel I'm doing them a greater service if I educate.
And the other thing I know you've heard before is, oh, you call them, go, "Yeah, my Uncle Billy, even though he doesn't have a license, he's done this before. He's going to help us."
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you've heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
It's
yes. If you've ever sold a car, and you've sold it with a family member, you know the outcome of that. So we'll just let that one
And that's the
ride.
same Uncle Billy that helps them with their taxes and their
Yes.
roofing and all that good stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
we've all heard
Yes.
those stories.
You need a professional. Yes.
I believe in the entire history of this show, you are the first distinguished alum from Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute.
Wow.
There's all the show is many first. Each week we have a first.
There you go. You know.
So Hudson, North Carolina. Tell everybody
Yes.
where Hudson, North Carolina
Caldwell
is.
County, back to where I was saying earlier that I worked as administrative assistant for a number of years. So I was a high school dropout.
Really?
Absolutely. Halfway through my senior year, I dropped out of high school to go to work. My family is from the mountains of North Carolina. I was the first of 65 grandchildren to graduate high school. So,
Gee.
yeah, I did go back when I was 21 and finish up and get the high school
Cool.
diploma, and decided that I needed to go on and do a little more with education. So I went to Caldwell Community College, business administration, and then had 3 children, and life took its path, and I didn't go any further than that. But believe me, with real estate, you're always in school. So,
And you're writing a book now. How cool
I
is that,
am.
right? Yeah.
I find it interesting.
Yeah. So you said earlier your youngest daughter
Yes,
is one of the reasons that got you here to Raleigh.
absolutely.
Okay, what's a good story there?
Well, she's a Wake County deputy sheriff now. She was a mother of 3 small children, and she was a stay-at-home mom and ended up going through a divorce. And as you've just heard, I have mountain values. And in my family, we don't sit around and mope and cry. We get up and we go to work. It's just what we do. And my brother's a North Carolina state trooper. And my daughter always thought he was the greatest. And her goal was always to be in law enforcement. Can't say I was a big fan. With 3 small children and her being my youngest daughter, it was a little scary. So it really wasn't supportive of the idea. But she went ahead and took herself and went through basic law enforcement training with 3 small children and graduated and was offered a job in Fuquay-Varina. And she hired a nanny to come take care of the children because it's pretty much 24/7 when you're first in law enforcement. And she was a single mom. That only lasted a few months, and the nanny said, "Nah, I'm not going to dedicate my whole life to you and your small children." So Nana came to help out until we could find a nanny. That oldest grandchild is 14 and a half, and we still have Nana. So it was the greatest blessing of my life, and it was good for all of us.
And I know the grandkids have great stories because we talk all the time about. I've had this conversation with my mom. I had it with her for years. I don't remember presents my grandparents got me, but I remember the moments.
Sure.
And that's what the first time we went to a movie, or I know every Saturday we'd go get waffles or whatever.
Sure.
But that's the beauty of having a grandkids.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is, and you know that now.
I'm getting there, yes, quickly. As soon as he can walk and talk, we'll be going places.
Yes, you will. Yes, I took the oldest granddaughter to a movie last weekend with her, I'm not supposed to say boyfriend, with her male friend. And because my daughter is a deputy sheriff and she's super protective. So I had to go supervise at a movie. We're very conservative little family here. But and I wouldn't take anything for that.
Were
And
you allowed to sit with them?
I sat down a few seats, but
Okay.
I don't think they moved the entire time.
No.
No, they were terrified of each other. I loved it.
And my guess is when you came to be the Nana and the nanny is your daughter, because she was so new in that role, probably did not get the 8 to 5 hours.
No.
Yeah.
No. It was I was the other parent.
Mhm.
And I have wonderful Facebook videos. If you get a chance, check out my Facebook page. I think we're going to have a link to it, but you'll see pictures. My favorite is when one of the 5-year-olds was teaching the 3-year-old proper teeth brushing techniques. And so they didn't know I was videoing it. And she's brushing her teeth, showing her. And then she takes it and she starts brushing her face. And she says, "And this is how I wash my face." And the giggling ensues. So, you can't put prices on those special moments.
One of the other things you have in hobbies and interest is the Carolina Kayak Club.
Love my kayak.
Tell us a little bit more there.
Well, the Carolina Kayak Club, if you're interested in kayaking flat water, just lakes around this area, I encourage you to go to their website. It's a great organization. They teach you safety, but they also help you connect with other kayak members. And it's just a way to get out there and learn more about the environment, and just to learn techniques, whether you're a novice, you've never been in a kayak before, or if you like to go out in the ocean, and do some of the more adventurous stuff, that would be the place to go. And I just can't recommend it high enough.
I got a friend of mine back in Florida who does that, and the only pictures she'll post are sunup in
Ah,
a kayak on the water, just gorgeous. It's
it's
quiet and everything.
you have to experience it one time. And as I said, even if you're a novice, I will tell you, when I first found this group, I didn't own a kayak. And I just saw the website, and always been interested. And I connected through their website with one of the members, and she said, "Well, I have a kayak. You can borrow it." Kayaks, borrowing kayaks. I just they're that kind of group. They're very giving, and it's just a great group of people. So I encourage people to get out and enjoy our waterways here. Wake County is just it's just marvelous. You just can't beat our area, and that's why everyone's trying to
Trying to
move
move
here.
here, yeah.
So
So in your real estate life, I always like to ask people, have you had that aha moment yet where you know what, I think this is going to work out. I'm pretty good at it.
well, yes, I've had a few of those. Trying to think of, it was after BNI. Because for my first year and a half, I was, I don't know if most of you know, but 70% of all real estate agents will turn in their license within the first year. It is very tough. It is not what people think it is. It's not as easy as you might see on Flip This House on
Yeah.
television. That's just not real life. Um, but it was after BNI, and just started realizing the connections I had made. And by making those connections, it made my real estate life easier. It just made everything go smoother. And I can't think of any one moment that I knew that it was going to work. I remember the moment I first thought it wouldn't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are always good too.
Oh, that one was a bad one. Real estate sales, you're almost like you're on a roller coaster all the time, up and down, up and down. And that's one of the things you have to navigate. And a family friend of ours came to me and said, "We want to buy a house." Sure. I've learned since then, I generally will refer out friends. It just seems to work better for everybody. But it was a husband and wife, and it was $1 million home, and we were
Good.
under contract, and everything was going well, and I was already calculating my commission.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife told the husband, "If you buy the house, I'm going to divorce you." Out of left field. Yes, they are now divorced. It had nothing to do with that. But it was just reality coming and hitting me straight square in the face. And you have to learn to overcome obstacles and
Mm-hmm.
blows like that, and pick yourself up and keep going. And that was an interesting one. I was almost during that 70%.
No. And of course, the recession in 2009 weeded out a lot of people. Because what I've
Yeah.
also learned through having realtors on the show is there are a number of people that will get their license and they just want to do it part time. And I think they get out of it what they put into it, which is probably not a lot, correct?
Well, I like those people, those part-time real estate agents in this market with multiple offers. I, I encourage it. Just do it part-time, because when it comes time to place those offers, mine will be chosen, because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're not out there, as I said earlier, it can change literally week to week in this market. It is that volatile with what's going on, and you have to be able to think outside the box. And the only way to do that, just like any other job, is experience. And that's the fun also, having to think outside the box and think about new ways of helping your clients.
My guess is most markets around the country do not have 8 or 9 or 10 offers above the asking price that they have to
No.
deal with, because you got to be not only outside the box, but you got to be quick. Because you have what, if a buyer has looked at the house and they really, really like it, I mean, how long does it take to get an offer in?
Well, so this is the reason I'm all about educating my clients. Before we go look at the first house, I meet with my clients and we talk about what the process is going to look like, what the market is doing right now, and what you can expect. So if we've gone through that process and I've helped you lay out the foundation of what you're going to need to purchase a house, you have to have a lender.
Hmm.
People want to go look at houses. They don't have a lender. How do you know how much of a house you can afford? You need a lender, and I know several lenders, and there's a lot of programs out there right now for first-time home buyers. So you don't have to have a down payment. The idea that you have to have 5 or 10% down to purchase a house is not true. That being said, with this market, you better have everything else lined up the way it needs to be if you want to even think you'll have a successful offer on a house. So it happens really quickly. Um, it takes the fastest an agent can get all the documentation together and the offer prepared and ready to submit. The fastest I've been able to do is 2 hours. And so generally new houses come on the market on a Thursday.
Okay.
And by Sunday at 5 o'clock, the listing agent is calling for highest and best. They want the highest amount of money you're willing to offer with the best terms. You know it's going to be a multiple offer situation. I have known houses that had 20 offers. I know people who have gone through the process 12 to 14 times, placing offers and every offer being rejected because they didn't have an agent that could help them with this. So it is very volatile, and there's a lot more to it than just putting some numbers down on a piece of paper and submitting.
If you want to meet more people like Sandra through BNI, qualified people in their industry and wonderful people to network and help grow your business, start your business, or if there's somebody you know that wants to do the same thing, we recommend that you go visit a BNI chapter. You can go to trianglebni.com, and there's a pull-down button there for Find a Chapter. You can call the number at 919-465-1667. Talk to Steve, Mary, or Brenda in the office. They'll be more than happy to help you. And our guest next week on Monday at 11 o'clock is Dr. Ashley McGuire with Whole Family Chiropractic. And we appreciate you joining us on Triangle BNI this week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.